So it's been a hot minute since I recorded the last video, and I was traveling over the past couple of weeks, and then I really want to take my time to speak about these topics because they go quite deep. And today it's a topic that goes insanely deep, and I really want to address this because I'm not talking for the man here, I'm talking for the woman. But perhaps if you are a man and watching this, maybe you are recognizing yourself in this as well. And I want to speak about the fear of being alone and why being alone, at least at some point in your life, is so important for the future choices that you are going to make for yourself. And I think I can talk about this now because I am alone. I can see the value of this, and I can finally see whatever future decisions I'm going to make for myself are coming from a completely different source or foundation or whatever you want to call it, that it's just going to be more in alignment to whatever I want in my life. And let me get into this. This is a very uncomfortable truth. And again, I'm going to speak for the women here. But if you are a man watching this and you recognize yourself, no one here has to put their hand up that they are doing this. I'm going to do it for you. And I want you to, if you recognize yourself in this, to not feel ashamed, to not feel judged, because at the end of the day, it's something that is natural. Look, you are in a relationship, right? Let's assume you are in a relationship, you are not fulfilled, you are not happy. And trust me on this, 90%, I would really say 80 to 90% that are beyond the 2-year mark of a relationship are most likely not happy with each other. I'm going to go into this later. Perhaps, I don't know what the time is going to be like here, but let's say 80 to 90%. So you are not alone in this. Just know that. And what I'm going to say is now, the women, what they do when they are not happy in a relationship, they either just make peace with the facts, they let it be because maybe you have children and you don't have another choice. You always have another choice, but in your mind it might look different. However, getting back to the point, if you feel like you are not fulfilled, you don't feel happy with your partner because he doesn't evolve with you, or for whatever reason it is, right? You start subconsciously, I'm not going to say consciously or intentionally, but unintentionally and subconsciously, you are starting to have an emotional backup plan. And that can look completely in different ways. I'm going to put my hand up here because I've done it in the past. In my long-term relationships, I had probably two long-term relationships. And there were times for sure where I wasn't happy. Otherwise, I would still be with a person. And I didn't feel fulfilled. So you have to understand in a way that there is a gap inside you. If you are not happy, there is something that perhaps you haven't addressed, you haven't spoken about, or maybe you have even spoken about it, but it didn't land on the other side. So there's still a gap inside you, right? Now, this gap wants to be filled. And if you don't know how to fill it yourself, you're going to look outside to fill it from whatever external circumstance you see. And in my case, and in a lot of other women's cases, it is that they are seeking attention elsewhere. Subconsciously, I'm really emphasizing subconsciously. So when you find yourself in a position where you don't feel happy in your relationship and you start to subconsciously perhaps even get attention from someone else, this is how it starts, you know. This is how a lot of relationships also break up, because one or the other partner doesn't really get anymore what they want because years pass by, They let themselves go. They don't make this effort anymore into each other like they did on day one when it felt easy. But of course, after a couple of years, you do have to put effort into this. Like, I'm going to speak about this later. Love is not a feeling. Of course, in the first 2 years, maybe, or 1 year, you are in your honeymoon phase. Of course, it's a feeling and it's easy, right? But later on, it's gonna be a conscious decision to really choose each other and make that effort in the relationship. This is what it's about. And if you don't do this, you will find yourself in this trap where you just let yourself go, and then you kind of don't really feel seen, you don't really feel heard, and you are starting to seek attention somewhere else. And sometimes if you get it and there starts to develop a chemistry, then you are really in a big trap, and the whole game starts from the beginning if you gonna choose that path. But just know, and I want to add this in here, I don't really want to, like, it's not really part of the topic, but whilst I'm at it, just know that when you choose to go with someone else and jump from one relationship to the next, because I've been there, I can tell you that the same issue is gonna arise again if you don't really choose from a place of first being alone and really learn all the attributes of being alone. It's really, really important. And I only can speak about this now because I am experiencing this and I see the big value of being alone. And us women, we do this subconsciously. It's not intentional and it's not to hurt the other partner, but the root of how we want to feel is to be safe, to feel safe. And if our man, our partner, doesn't see us and doesn't hear us when we bring something to the table, then we don't feel safe anymore. And then I guess by autopilot, if you are not conscious, you start to perhaps look elsewhere because this is what you need. And I really want to emphasize again, this is not by having bad intentions and not even being conscious about this at all. This is something we've done over all these years, and this is why I really want to talk about this, so you can become aware and choose differently for yourself. Like, choose a different reaction, like talk to your partner, really like make him understand how serious you are about something that hasn't worked out yet, or where you haven't really come to a long-term compromise, right? So if you find yourself in a repetitive pattern, then it's really important to highlight how important this is for you. And if, again, nothing changes, I mean, that's another step. I don't really want to go into this now. All I want to say is we have this coping mechanism as a woman to feel safe, emotionally safe, especially. And it's just so important that you start to understand why you are doing this and that you become conscious of it so you can start to react in a different way. I want to talk about the 3 stages of being alone that has happened to me, and perhaps you find yourself in one of them. So the first one was when I moved out of my parents' house and I lived alone by myself in Berlin. And I really didn't feel comfortable being by myself. But of course, at the time, I didn't know. So what did I do? I started to distract myself with food. So this was the first time where my weight fluctuations really started. And then later on in life, I was in a long-term relationship. But again, I didn't fully trust my ex-partner at the time. And I also, again, had weight fluctuations. I had periods where I felt really good in my body, and then there were periods where I felt not safe emotionally, and I would start eating and I would fall back to my plus 8-10 kilos. So it was always like this. And then eventually, after 2 long-term relationships, this was a time where I chose to be alone. And this is where I'm right now. And I have to say, this was a difficult time for me because in the beginning, at least, it was something that I have never really done before. I always chose to be with someone because I didn't want to be alone. At the time, again, like I didn't do it consciously, but eventually I decided to choose myself, to be by myself. And I'm telling you also, I was really bored and I didn't really know what to do. And especially in winter, I was here in a different place, in a different country, and I didn't really have my own friends yet. And for the first time, I also chose to stay in a country that that I chose for myself. In the past, I always chose a country where I met someone and I left everything and everyone behind me for this one person. And this is why I am so passionate about choosing yourself, because I have never done that. And for the first time now, I chose myself. I chose to decide where I'm going to live. And I chose to figure out what are my hobbies, who do I want to be friends with, who do I not want to give my energy to. And these are important steps that you have to decide for yourself. And this you can only do when you are alone. And then you, from this process, you start to really get to know yourself and you start to really know who you are. You start to know what you stand for and what you will not settle for anymore. So this is so important because at the end of the day, you don't want to choose a partner in your life that just comes along to give you the chemistry, because the chemistry, it's nice, of course, but it doesn't mean necessarily that experiencing chemistry is the love of your life. I think we all know this by now, that chemistry is just a certain amount of time until it passes, until it settles. And you want to be in a position where when you are alone and you finally know who you are and what you want and what you stand for, that from that point, you can choose a life partner, someone that you share values with, someone that you can build a life together and that you can grow together. This is so important because if you don't have a partner that you grow together, you will feel empty and you will feel bored. Like you will feel like you will start to become like drained. Your energy is gonna drain the shit out of you. Seriously, I'm not even joking. It's a place you don't want to be in. And whilst I say that being alone is probably the most important thing that you will ever do for yourself, just because you are able to really get to know yourself. I mean, when you are 18, 19, you don't really know what you want and who you are. And then along the years, you perhaps meet someone that you do have a chemistry with. And at the time, we didn't really know that this chemistry is, at the time, you would think, oh my God, this is the love of my life. But no. And I guess you perhaps see this by now. Like, I can speak about this topic for so long, but I have to be careful not to drift away. But I truly believe that the moment you are with someone that doesn't grow with you anymore into the right direction, it's time to part ways. And there's nothing wrong about that. And I feel like our society makes such a big thing about always celebrating anniversaries, celebrating 10 years, 20 years of being together, always having these milestones. And whilst they are important, I just have to also say, why not celebrate the level of connection that you have with each other, the level of trust, rather than celebrating years of what? I mean, it's great if you do have the connection and if you do have that level of trust and respect, especially respect. For me, it's the most important thing in a relationship, because whenever you keep your respect, everything else will be there as well. Another topic, I'm drifting away. What I want to get back into is that there's a sweet line and a huge distinction between wanting someone and needing someone. And you want to be in a place of wanting to be with someone. Like, look, for me, I am a relationship person, and I think everyone that knows me close enough, I really like to be with someone and have a partner by my side. And right now I am alone and I'm truly happy and content. That doesn't mean I don't want to be in a relationship. I really can't wait to meet my person one day, but I don't need him. I don't need someone in my life right now because I feel whole and complete with myself. And until then, I will not settle. I know exactly my values. I know exactly what I want. I know exactly who I am. And this is why I'm talking about this, because I want this for you to achieve as well. So you can get in alignment with your partner right now, or if that is going to go in a way where you drift ways, then so be it. Try not to feel ashamed. Try not to judge yourself as being a failure. What can I say? I am divorced. I married before and I parted ways with my ex-husband. Thank God we didn't have any children. And I also parted with my ex-boyfriend. And so what? What's the issue about it? Right? I really hope that you can let your ego down and stop caring what other people think about your life, because you have to choose yourself. This is your happiness. This is your life. This is your memories that you are going to build. And you don't want to get to the end of this life and think like, fuck, I should have. So use this now, use this awareness and really think about what you want. Communicate it. And perhaps you are lucky and blessed enough that your partner will hear you if you are serious enough. But don't keep these things inside of you. Speak about it. How can he know? Like, maybe you have spoken about it, but nothing has really changed. Then you have to listen to yourself. I'm not going to tell you what to do because I don't know that. But you have to listen to your inner voice and be brave, courageous, trust, have faith for whatever the next step is for you. The last thing I'm going to say about this is, look, when you met your partner, who you are with now, perhaps, it's exciting. Of course, there's chemistry, right? And in the first 2 years, it's gonna be easy. And it's a feeling that pushes you. It gives you energy. Later down the line, maybe then you get married or you are having kids. And again, it's something new, it's something exciting, and it's beautiful. But then at some point in your life, and this will always be the case, even if you meet the one, there will be a moment where you will have a phase and it's gonna be like your day-to-day routine, or you're gonna have a down moment, or you feel exhausted. And I want you to realize and know that the love you choose, the partner you chose, it's a daily conscious decision that you want to be with this person or not. And you show this by your actions and by your effort. Like, being in a relationship is effort, it's work. It's like going to your job on a daily basis. It's not like when you come home, you feel tired, and you can just let your mood out because it's your significant other at home and you can do it because you know them for so long. No, it's not like that. You have to keep respecting each other until your last day. It has to come from both sides. And if one person does it, then see perhaps if the other person comes along? How about going that extra mile without asking? Like doing something for the other without the other person asking, even though you don't feel like. But it's like the small things. It's not like to have one big argument and then you are like, it's the small things of not being seen, of not feeling heard, of not feeling safe. I'm talking now from a woman perspective. You men, you probably have something else. But I'm not here for that because this is not my expertise. So I just want to end this and say, choosing your person is going to be an everyday conscious decision to go for them, to choose them. And once you do, it can turn out so beautifully that you are aligned and can build something together with the respect you both deserve. So this, I really wanted to get this off my chest because yeah, it's not something nice to be alone initially, because sitting in that silence, it's very weird. Like I didn't really know how to handle it, but by time passing on and dealing with the situation, it's an experience that I believe we all need if we haven't been at a point in our lives where we know who we are and what we want. And being alone gives you exactly that and gives you then the foundation to choose someone that is more in alignment with you. So I think I've talked enough for today, and I hope you have a beautiful Sunday, a great start to the new week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and then I will see what I'm going to talk about next week. Take care.